Hello there! What is going on, everybody? Today we are going to be talking about the Raddaugh Gnasp, the Wookiee Fluttercraft. We've got ourselves some previews from Atomic Mass Games that they put out on social media yesterday, and we're going to talk about the unit card, also some of the upgrade cards, because we got that hacked comms unit, and also one of the gunner options for this thing. So this is going to be a pretty juicy spoiler. So not really a spoiler, but I guess it is kind of a spoiler, because I guess some people probably prefer to like wait until they get the box in their hands and then open it up and see it for the first time. But I don't really know if this constitutes a spoiler, but we're going to call it a spoiler anyway. So, all right, let's talk about the Raddaugh Gnasp Wookiee Fluttercraft. Also, if you guys haven't already entered to win the $25 Amazon gift card giveaway, you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. I'm actually going to be announcing the next winner at the end of this video, but you can still enter to win the next giveaway by just being a subscriber and leaving a comment. I want to hear your best take on how to really use the Wookiee Fluttercraft, or the Raddaugh Gnasp, or I don't know why I always want to do like that Scottish accent with it. The Raddaugh Gnasp, that's right. And we go down into the Fluttercraft, and we're gonna let them have it, aren't we? That's right. Come on there, Chewbacca. I built this bridge with me bare hands, piece by piece, stone by stone. But do they call me Chewbacca, the bridge builder? No. Why? That's a short excerpt from one of my favorite jokes of all time that I will only tell in person and never on my channel. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and do this this preview. Also, check some of the other links down in the description below. The Raddaugh Gnasp Fluttercraft is actually a support. We have the unit card. It is truly a support. It's not a heavy. I know there was a lot of confusion because, like, everything suggested it would be a support. The other command cards kind of imply it will be a support from the Wookiees, and you know. But then, like, there was a thing on the box that said it was a heavy, or one of the AMG people were like, "Hold on, we're not sure. Let's check." And then there was like a lot of back and forth, and at the end of the day, we're just like, let's just wait until we see it. So let there be no more confusion. The Wookiee Fluttercraft is a support. You're going to get one unit in the mini. It's going to be 55 points, too. So that's actually really cheap. This is like Rebel ATRT kind of, like, it reminds me of in the early days of Legion, when all you had was, you know, Luke Skywalker, Rebel Troopers, and ATRTs. Like, running a couple of ATRTs was, you know, I once did like a 14 activation list, running like 3 naked ATRTs at like 55 points each, I believe. So yeah, like, this is, you know, it's cheap, but you're not getting a whole lot here. All right, you've got a pilot, or rather a crew option, I should say. We've got a crew option and a comms option. We've got cover 2. It's got speeder 2, and so it's going to be moving, you know, similar to how your snow speeder moves. It's speed 2. It's got reposition, which is good. It's also got immune to blast, melee, and range 1 weapons. So it's going to be flying pretty high. Grenades are not going to hit it. Unless, of course, you go with that trusty old take that clankers with Rex, and then all of a sudden your guys with grenades can then extend them out to range 2, and then you do that kind of crazy stuff. But yeah, and then so it's got like kind of like a lot of the things, the keywords and stuff that you would expect an aerial vehicle to have, but nothing new. Now, we were expecting, according to the, you know, the Asmodee pre-order page, that this was going to have the new overrun keyword. I don't see an overrun keyword. As a matter of fact, the AMG page says, a beautifully detailed, unpainted, hard plastic miniature brings this unit to life on your tabletop, while a unit card outlines all of its capabilities, including the new overrun keyword. I don't see any new overrun keyword on here. So apparently that was a mistake. And or there's something missing. Maybe there's a missing keyword from down in here or something. I don't know. I don't think there's something that's been erased from this card. I think it's probably a different crew option that has overrun. That's my guess. That seems most likely in this case. Or maybe overrun was too overpowered. Overpowered, and they had to remove it. Maybe. But then why didn't it make it onto the Asmodee page? I don't know. In the transition, I imagine some things kind of, I mean, who knows? Who knows? Either way, there's no overrun there. So that is confusing. I'd love to hear from you guys what you think. Do you think it's maybe there's another crew that happens to have overrun? And that would probably make the most sense to me. I mean, it could be a comm that has overrun too, but that doesn't sound that way. It sounds like it's something a crew would bring here, like, I'm gonna crash into these dudes. I'm a crazy driver, or something like that. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna see you crossing the road, and I'm gonna run you down, and you're gonna tell all your friends that this Wookiee got you, but it ain't true. It isn't true at all. No, you're gonna make up stories. That's right. You're gonna make up stories about the overrunning Wookiees. Anyway, really in a voices mood today. Well, we do have a range 2 weapon on here, the Pilot's Kashyyyk pistol. Only range 1 of 2, a black and a white. They do have Surge to hit, but they also have Surge for defense with a white defense die, 6 health, 3 resilience, which means, they start taking wounds and they're going to be broken pretty quick. That wood it's tough, what Warshear would, but it's not that tough, right? But honestly, it's not. I mean, it seems like it's a decent platform for other things, but we really only have the 2 upgrades. So how much of a platform can it be? Is really the question. So, all in all, I think this unit by itself doesn't give you a whole lot. I think there's things you can do with it. For one, it can be fairly cheap activation padding. And that's certainly, that has value, especially in the Republic. You've got R2-D2 already. You can put some arc snipers in there. You can put some of this stuff in there. I mean, I think there's going to be ways to get up to really high activation count if you want your heavy. If you want maybe just like 2 or 3 heavy hitters and still want a decent activation count. Maybe you consider running a couple of these. You can still also use these for limited harassment. Because they're a speeder, if you do a compulsory move that ends up displacing an enemy unit, you can give them some suppression. You can take a shot. You'll probably get a damage a damage side between a black and a white and a Surge to hit. You can probably put some suppression out there, not much, but a little bit. I mean, maybe 2 if you are able to displace somebody and get a suppression on there. Or and then get a shot on them. I mean, that's a possibility. And they're gonna be very maneuverable too. They're a decent sized little base. And you've got speeder too. You get that free compulsory move. You can do 3 moves, so it's gonna be really good for certain objectives that emphasize mobility. Bombing run, like, this could be great for bombing run. And so there's a lot of potential uses for them, and they can also be great to trigger fire support, like. Pretty much all the supports that the Republic has now have that Surge to hit though. So it's not like it's going to be. I don't know if I'd really want to take this for fire support, versus something else. It's like a lot of times I think the ATRT is probably a really good option for fire support because you can have that longer range, because this is only range 2 for its shooting. So not the best fire support, but at least it's not restricted to a specific arc, so you can kind of move wherever you want. It just seems like it's versatile, but weak in its versatility until we start looking at some other things, because we do have the gunner, the Gnasp gunner, which is actually fairly nice. I kind of like the Gnasp gunner, although this is going to be tricky to make the Gnasp gunner work. And we also have hacked comms unit here, but I'm going to talk about the Gnasp gunner first. He's got that big old mounted crossbow. He's nice looking. 2 red and 2 black is a really good dice pool. It's a 25-point upgrade, so now you're taking this from 55 points up to 80. So now this makes this an expensive unit. It's fixed rear also, which means you can only shoot out of the rear. Anybody who's flown a snowspeeder and tried to get that rear shot working knows it's not always that easy, especially on a white save with only 6 health. It's you got cover 2, and you've got a little bit of protection with that defensive surge too, but you're not going to last that long. And now all of a sudden, to get the shots you need lined up, it might be tricky. However, this is a good attack pool here. You don't have arsenal, so you're not going to be able to combine the Gnasp gunner and the 2 extra dice from the Kashyyyk pistol, which is a little bit like that. That would be kind of cool. Maybe there'd be a comm or something that gives you the arsenal for it, but I don't think so. I don't think so. But yeah, so you got range 1 to 3 on this. So I mean, maybe there's some clever new flying approaches. You can really try and skirt the battlefield until you're like in a safe spot to then kind of swing, swing your arc around a little bit. And with the compulsory move, you get a little bit of more movement flexibility, but you're also only speed 2, and that can be a good or a bad thing, depending on on your terrain setup. They did change compulsory, so you can do it at the end of your activation now if you want, so that's also pretty cool. It's got Impact 1, but more importantly than all the other stuff is it's got Pierce 1, and that's a really, really good keyword. It says, basically guaranteed to do 1 damage to armor, which is real nice. Real nice there. Yeah, the Gnasp Gunner looks pretty good. It looks like a really solid option. I'll be interested to see what other options there are, but I think the Gnasp Gunner is pretty cool. It's it's significant of a point upgrade that it's not necessarily. Again, it's hard to know where to rank this, but I don't feel like it'll be an always auto include, but I think it'll get taken more often than not. And then we also have the hacked comms unit. Only 5 points, and this was the one that's like in every single expansion in the whole wave. So that's interesting. And we've seen it like here and there, but we've never been able to actually read the card. So it says, during the issue orders step of the command phase, after an enemy unit at range 1 is issued an order, you may issue an order to yourself if able. So this is a really cool way to get free orders, and I don't know, this has like a lot of implications, a lot of meta implications, and it's going to be really good on those melee units. It's really good for people that want to get up close and personal, especially, I think it's going to be exceptionally good for droids, especially droids with AI. You're going to be able to put out a lot more stuff. This can start a B1 chain kind of on its own. Of course, you'd have to have them lined up and close enough because they have to be at range 1, so they got to be really, really close. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting upgrade. I feel like it potentially, this is one of those upgrades that changes a lot of different things about the game. And one of the things I think is so funny about this is, we were just looking at the super tactical droid card that's like, they have to put one or face-up order back into their pool, and then the first time they pull from the pile, they're going to do one of your choice. And I'm like, okay, so that's really going to punish people for having only like one order token out there and really relying on pulling from the pile and hoping they get what they want. It's going to punish them for that. But in the same way, if everybody's getting hacked comms unit, which I feel like that negates an awful lot of that bonus. Now, of course, it does require that you get into close range. You're in that range 1 of multiple other people who are getting units. But that's usually around the time that a card like that would really punish players. So I feel like hacked comm unit is going to be. I think they want you taking this a lot, and I feel like hacked comm unit might be one of those cards that pushes the meta into a certain direction that forces people to almost always need it, depending on how players react to its presence. And because like this could trigger all kinds of interesting things. Imagine you've got your rebel veterans, and then they have hacked comms unit, and they get kind of close to you, and then they've got the Mark II there also, and now all of a sudden you issued him an order, but now I get 2 more orders on top of that, or anybody that has coordinate or anything like that. There's a lot of really interesting potential ways of chaining this, or just taking advantage. But I think the droids, the separatists, definitely have some of the best options for this. And of course, since almost everybody on the separatist side has comms, that's going to be really interesting. This is also something that, because you're issuing the order to yourself, so even comms jammer isn't going to stop this, because you're still able to issue an order to yourself. Now it does say that you may issue an order to yourself if able. So you won't be one of the eligible targets of certain cards that only take effect when somebody else, like when the commander issues you an order. So it's important to keep in mind that that's what it's talking about. It's you issuing the order to yourself. And hey, that's still pretty cool. I'm really curious about all the implications for this card that that we haven't thought of yet, and how many things are going to kind of emerge once everybody starts getting this into games, and then we'll see, you know, maybe even more ideas and combos. I mean, I think it'll be a really good one for B2s. I think it'll be a really good one for you know, any kind of melee droid like Kraken or something like that. But I think it'll be really good for fast-moving vehicles also. Like it could be an option for the Raddaugh Gnasp, because, you know, fast-moving vehicles that want to get up close and personal, or like something, you know, some kind of compulsory vehicle that has a rear shot. You know, I think that's a possible option too, or maybe even the separatist Stap riders. You know, they might end up getting themselves in close proximity to enemy forces really quickly. Droidekas could potentially use something like this in like, you know, take ball mode and move yourself like right in the middle of everything, and all of a sudden now you're like, hey, that's fine, I can charge into there because I know you're going to issue orders, and now I'd rolled right in the middle of your formation, but I know I'm getting that automatic order for free, so I won't be stuck, you know, having to attack. I'll be able to aim and attack and really wreck faces. So, you know, I kind of want to run Hacked Comms unit on Droidekas. I think it'll be really cool for them, because Droidekas are just one of those units that I thought were super, super cool, but they ended up being really hard for me to play them effectively, and a big part of that was their AI, because I always end up rolling them out of range of issuing orders. So I think that's going to be a really fun one. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think of these two upgrade cards? What do you guys think of the actual Fluttercraft unit card itself? And what are some of your predictions for what we're going to see next? We know that there's a guy who's throwing grenades down. I'm guessing that's what has the overrun keyword, and my guess is that it might deal with displacement. Or do you think that there's a chance that they actually took overrun out, and then we're just looking at a big typo or an old version of the article on the As Many pre-order page? So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure it won't be long before we get yet another round of previews, maybe as early as next week. So, of course, I will be bringing you coverage on that just as soon as it is available. And there, of course, we got a picture of the a close-up of that gunner right there. He looks pretty good. We've also got to talk about today's winner. Today's winner for the $25 Amazon gift card giveaway is going to be Justin Hutchins. Congratulations, Justin. Be sure to contact me on the back end of my channel. Just shoot me an email at mailcrabbok@gmail.com, and I'll get your info. We'll get you squared away. All right. And I think in this one, I don't know if it's the same guy on the back there, or if it's you know, if you're gonna be able to swap out you know, one mini for another one, but I think he looks great up there. I think he does. It'll be a fun, and it's a good looking miniature too. It's a real good looking miniature. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Raddaugh Gnasp. Please hop into Discord too, and we'll talk some more about it there. I want to thank you guys. Thanks to all my patrons for continuing to support the channel. You guys are absolutely amazing. And always remember, if you're dueling a samurai, don't go naked unless it's that kind of crazy party.